Okay, lovely to meet you both.
You
Thanks so
too.
much for taking the time to speak with us.
Pleasure.
So Disobedience, absolutely incredible film, so congratulations first of all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe you can just start by telling me how you first came involved with the project. I know Rachel Weisz already had the rights to Naomi Alderman's novel, and
Yes.
and then in turn how you got involved and what attracted you to the film.
Well, yes, Rachel Weisz had the rights of the book, and she was working with a producer, Frida Torres Blanco, and they approached me and told me the general lines of the story. I loved the sound of it. Then I read the book. I felt that even though I'm not British or Jewish, it seemed like a world that seemed strangely familiar because of the dynamics between the characters, because these are characters that are willing to pay the price to move on to the next level, and that's something I can relate to. There was a strange rebelliousness in the characters. They were not afraid of disobeying, and so that was like my way in. And then, I don't know, I mean, for some reason, Rachel and Frida thought that I could be the right person to make this film. They have seen a film I've made back then called Gloria, a film in Spanish, and for some reason they thought I was the guy to make this one.
Because it's a killer, kick-ass movie. That's why they wanted you to do it after seeing it, of course.
Yeah.
And for you,
I felt
Alessandro?
the same way, by the way.
You did?
That had a big bearing on my wanting to be in the film. I mean, I really, about 5 years ago, just started, I decided I wanted the director to be the main element that I would decide whether or not to do a role that would help me decide. And I just started only doing movies with directors that seemed like they were exciting and original and intelligent and cool. And everything else was sort of like of secondary importance. And so I had seen Gloria, and I loved it, and so I really wanted to work with him. That really was the kind of first thing. And then on top of that, for me, this was just, I mean, what an opportunity for an actor to do something that you had never done before, and to try and stretch your ability to transform into somebody completely unlike yourself, and from a kind of cultural and behavioral place that's completely different than your own. And then Rachel and I had worked together before. We'd done a movie like 20 years ago or something that Michael Winterbottom directed that nobody saw, called I Want You. So I knew her really well, and I hadn't seen a lot of her over the years, but I was really excited to work with her again.
And both Rachel Weisz and Rachel McAdams really on top of their game in this film. So, how did you work with them to kind of bring out the intimate parts of their relationship and the sort of complex, trio between the three of you? And how was it for you working with both of them?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I always need to create some certain levels of, important levels of trust with the actors I work with. I love working with actors. And I think the energy that you create in a film set, is part of the craft. It's part of the art of what making a film is. And I really need for that energy to be, to allow, everyone to feel confident and taken care of, and to have the freedom to try things out, to be foolish, to be brave, to dare, knowing that that I will, take care of them in the editing room, and I expect the same in return. So I think it's no more complex than that, and I feel very grateful because I think Alessandro, Rachel Weisz, and Rachel McAdams the three of them are really at the top of their game and really giving everything they have, and I think the film benefits enormously from that commitment.
And I'm sorry.
No, I mean, you were asking about working with the Rachels. I mean, as I said, I knew Rachel Weisz pretty well before doing this film, and I just in the years between the time that I'd last worked with her and now, I mean, she's just become such an extraordinary performer, and so I was really looking forward to that for obvious reasons. And then McAdams and I, we both had to go through a similar kind of research period concurrently, where she lives in LA or at the time, and I I live in Brooklyn, and we were in our different cities, kind of getting access to these Orthodox communities and spending kind of really immersive time in those communities. And so our kind of rapport really began comparing notes together, which we would keep checking in with each other every so often, because it was important that it seemed that we were from the same place and that we were, part of the same community since childhood, and that be believable. And so we wanted to keep kind of cross-checking and cross-referencing our experiences and what we were learning, and the way we were speaking Hebrew, and the different rituals that we were, and behavioral things that we were picking up on through that time. And so by the time we got to the set, we'd really had a kind of, quite vulnerable time together, trying to start to convince ourselves that we could believe ourselves as these other people.
And just very quickly, I feel like in your films, Gloria, A Fantastic Woman Who Disobedience, you seem to have a fascination with women, on the edge of society in some respects, or about acceptability. So, what do you think people are going to take away from the film?
Well, I hope the film is a strong, intense cinematic journey, and you will be invited to go into this world, which few people know about, and then closely following these characters, feel with them what they are feeling, and probably, hopefully, being transformed as they are in their own journey. It is an intense film, yes.
All right. Fantastic. Well, thanks so much for your time, and congratulations again on a wonderful film.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.